Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. Today's a bit of it's not a review so much as I just wanted to talk about one of my favourite brands, which is Robert Oster Ink. This is an Australian brand and I just wanted to show like some of my favourites and a couple of best-selling colours that are going around from his collection, because I think that they're really worth looking at. I really like Robert's inks. I think that they they behave well. They're vibrant colours. There's a huge range of colours, and I've probably tried over 150 of his inks now, and I've reviewed a number. So if you want to watch reviews of a lot of his inks, you can check them out here on my channel. But here are, I want to show you a few of my favourites and a few other people's. Some of the best-selling ones, as I said. So Robert Oster burst onto the scene a few years ago with an ink called Fire and Ice. This is Fire and Ice. I'll be showing all of these inks on colouring cards here. This is Fire and Ice. It's a lovely sort of vibrant sort of light blue with a really big red sheen. It was one of those inks that really burst onto the scene because of that sheen, and became very, very popular. And it was taken up by a number of retailers. It really put him on the market, which was really great. And the inks are produced in nice 50ml bottles that are sort of environmentally friendly. His company has a social conscience. He's supportive of charities. He thinks about the environment, all of these sorts of things. So it's a brand to support even in that respect. But even just from the point of view of really high quality inks, this is a really great place to go. So this is, as I said, this is the standard bottle, and he often has things like exclusive inks, which recently have come in with this sort of label, which I think is really nice. He's got like ink art line, which comes in this bottle. This is a shimmy ink, so the shake and shimmy line, which he introduced a couple of years. And sometimes little exclusives come in these really nice little 15ml bottles as well. He has also done at times a 100ml bottle of a couple of his inks, and there is a giant 500ml bottle, which is just ridiculous, which I love. But the standard bottle is this. Now, in terms of pricing of the Robert Oster inks, this is still a relatively boutique brand. Yes, it's in a lot of stores now and it sells a lot of ink, but it's still a relatively small company. So in the US, this standard 50ml bottle retails for about $17. In Australia, for about $21.90. And then the shimmy version, for instance, costs $24 in the US and $29.95 in Australia. And the exclusives are available through the Robert Oster website. You should check out their website anyway, just to see a range of these colours and the swatch cards and all of those sorts of things. It's a really great brand and deserves to be supported worldwide. Because as I said, not only are they great colours, but they perform well, and they've got really nice sort of properties of sheen and shading and things like that. So I wanted to show a few favourites and things. So firstly, where it started for me was with these two inks, Maroon 1789 and Red Orange. I bought these from a retailer in Australia without knowing anything about the brand, just knowing that they were Australian. And I'm really happy. I love both of these inks are great. I love this maroon. It's got sort of like nice sort of brown undertones, a bit of red. I think it's just a really, really lovely ink, and I think I think this is my second bottle of it now, and I just use it all the time. It's beautiful. So this is where I started. Someone like Brian Goulet has a favourite, which he makes very well known, which is Blue Water Ice, which is a really lovely, vibrant blue, and it's a great blue. It's got some nice red sheen, a bit like Fire and Ice. If we look at the two together, you see sort of the difference in sort of how these colours line up. So Blue Water Ice is a very, very vibrant blue, whereas Fire and Ice is a little more muted, but once again, they both have that great hit of sheen. Then before we get into the high-selling inks and my personal favourites, I just wanted to show another really nice blue is Soda Pop Blue, and just to show some of the variation in what he can actually do, because what's ended up is that a lot of the inks that are in the top selling lists are actually a little bit more on the muted dark side of inks. So, you know, he also has this beautiful Australian sky blue, this peach color, which I actually think is a great replacement for something like Apache Sunset and some of that shading. It's really cool. Let's move these over so I can get all these on the screen. Beautiful, vibrant greens, a huge range of greens. I don't think anyone does blues or greens better than Robert Oster, personally. Even a nice sort of dusty pink in cherry blossom, and then sort of that nice, vibrant fire engine red there. So, huge range of colours, lots of muted purples, and as I said, blues and greens, and some lovely browns and things. And you'll see a couple of these sort of coming up in the top lists. So in terms of the high selling inks, what I did was I went on to the Goulet Pens website and just saw what the top 5 selling inks were, you know, on Goulet Pens. And what I thought I'd do is I'd start at 5 and work my way up to 1. So this is Black Violet. Now, Black Violet is a slightly drier ink. A lot of Robert's inks are quite wet. This one's a slightly, you know, dry one. It's a very dark purple, as I said, Black Violet. It's got, in a really wet pen, it can look almost black, but you do get some nice lighter shading there. It's a lovely sort of rich color there. 4 is an ink called Motor Oil, which is a sort of, it's almost like a dark green sort of tea color, but Motor Oil also is a great, very apt name, that browny green being quite unique and quite lovely. It's not, actually the closest I've come to this is Sailor Riku Cha, which I think is not a pretty close match. 3 is one of my favorite inks, which is Great Southern Ocean. It's a really nice dark rich blue, and in the right pen can almost look blue-black, which is really cool. 2 is Thunderstorm, another blue, basically a blue-black. This is a very cool ink. It's dark, it's rich, it's, you know, it performs really, really well, and it's a solid writing ink. So not surprised that that's up near the top either. And of course, number 1 is Fire and Ice. Since this ink came out on the market, I don't think it has been out of top selling lists like across brands. It is just such a popular ink, and beautiful, nice and vibrant and rich. Okay, so that's the top 5 selling Robert Oster inks on the Goulet Pens website. Nice colours, nice range, but as I said, slightly more or less on sort of the muted darker end, which is also why I showed those more vibrant inks as well. So putting together my top 5 was actually really hard. It could have been a top 20 without any hesitation. As I said, I've tried probably 150 of his inks. I think they are wonderful, great range of colours, perform well. So coming up with the top 5 was really hard. And I actually couldn't do it. It was going to be a top 10. I did make a 5, but I wanted to show 4 that could have easily have been in this top 5, like without any hesitation. So a couple of these you've seen, like Great Southern Ocean. I just really love this ink. It sort of sits in that nice dark blue, almost blue-black category that I really enjoy. Another ink I really love is Grey Seas. This is a grey, light blue sort of colour. It's very, very nice. It's muted on the page. It is better in a wetter pen. This came from the 80s collection that came out maybe 18 months ago. Beautiful colour, and just writes really, really well and shades beautifully. And then Velvet Storm. Now, I use this ink a lot. This is my sort of like everyday replacement for Lamy Petrol. It's a lovely dark teal with some nice sheen on it. Just really beautiful ink. And it just writes like a dream. And then the last one is this. This is Sydney Darling Harbour. This is a beautiful green. Muted, soft, not a pastel green, but like along those sorts of lines. And I'll try and remember to put the photo of, I did a comparison on Instagram last year, early this year, where I compared the actual colour of the Sydney Darling Harbour water to this ink. And while this ink was named by the people that run the Sydney Pen Show, I think just that colour match is absolutely spot on. I really like this ink. It's beautiful. And as is Sydney Lavender, which was another Sydney Pen Show ink. But just lovely colours, lovely you know, and you can see there those blues, greys, greens, beautiful from Robert Oster. But now let's look at my top 5. So let's start at number 5, and for me that is CAFFE CREMA. This ink is beautiful. It was probably one of the first, maybe in the first 5 Robert Oster inks I got, and it is just a beautiful light brown. The shading on this ink is absolutely sublime, and there's a little bit of sort of like hint of like a greeny sheen on there as well. It performs well, as I said, it shades beautifully, but just that beautiful warm light brown color is just really, really lovely to write with. So that's number 5, and now let's look at number 4, a blue, but this is school blue. It may look like a sort of a standard, you know, dark sort of royal blue. It's got a big hit of red sheen on it there. But I really like, there's a slightly muted, dusty sort of color to this, which I really enjoy. It's probably my favorite Robert Oster blue, and one of my favorite blues across the board. I just think it is absolutely gorgeous. Then we get my number 3 ink, which you've already seen. It is Black Violet. Just a great, beautiful, sort of dark purple, almost black ink. I've used it for professional use, I've used it for everything, and it really just stands out nicely on the page. The last 2 inks fall into the green category, my number 1 and 2 ink. So my number 2 ink in this lineup is Eucalyptus Leaf. Being Australian, I love the idea of, you know, the eucalyptus leaf coloured ink. It's a beautiful sort of, I call it like a forest green. It's a muted, sort of muddy sort of colour, and it's just beautiful. And the shading, once again, amazing. The shading on Robert Oster inks is really nice. It never gets to the point where you can't read it. Like it's never so light, but it does range from like a nice lighter sort of green to a beautiful rich dark green, and just looks beautiful and writes beautifully. And absolutely one of my favorite inks. In fact, hard to split 1 and 2 on this list, really. Number 1 will be no surprise to anyone who has followed my channel. It is Tranquility. I don't think there's a more beautiful sort of dark, tealy green on the market. There's a number of inks that are very similar to this, everything from Colorverse Gravity Wave to Diamine Schubert and a number of other sort of lovely, teal greens. But this is just a beautiful color and it sheens nicely. One thing you get with Robert Oster is you don't get this sort of sheen in your writing. You get pops of sheen in your writing. Even in the wettest pen on the Tomoe River paper, you'll just get, where the ink pools, you get like what I call halo sheen. So where the ink pools, you'll just get a little line of sheen around that. But what we do get is when we're using it for things like art, when you pool a lot of ink, you do get a bit of sheen. And because these inks are great for art because they do water nicely. They're water-based inks. They're all non-toxic, all that sort of stuff, of course. But when you wet them, they do move nicely and they work well for sort of watercolor work in that respect. I use them a lot for that myself. But just for everyday writing, you just get lovely colors with hits of sheen and really beautiful, impressive inks. So that is my top 5. So Tranquility, number 1. Number 2, Eucalyptus Leaf. 3 is Black Violet. 4 is School Blue. And 5 is CAFFE CREMA. I really love the Robert Oster ink line. I think that the range of colours is just really sublime. I think that, when we're talking about, sort of a range of colours that range from everything from beautiful oranges and reds and greens and blues and, sort of dark muted colours, light dusty colours, really, he does everything, and just really lovely inks, perform well, and a really nice company to deal with. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this video interesting and useful. If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications button if you want to stay up to date with the videos that I produce. Please feel free to get in touch using any of the platforms listed below. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at @the_offstage_me, or you can contact me on any of my videos here or drop me an email which is listed down below. Please feel free to get in touch if there are products you think I should be looking at, or if there's a way you'd like to support the channel by sponsoring a review or providing an item for review. It's your support that makes this channel possible. In the meantime, enjoy your inks, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.